What's up, YouTube? In this video, I'm gonna talk about one of the greatest insights that I learned in breaking my neck. So many of you guys saw that I was wearing a neck brace a few months ago after having had a cervical spine injury that required me to have a fusion in C3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. It was a nightmare, and it was probably one of the most difficult chapters of my life to have to overcome. On the other side of that, you guys know that I'm a content creator and I have a big content team that helps me with posting and making sure that I'm creating and curating great content for the audience that I've worked so hard to build. But there was nothing that I have ever done that could compare to the amount of attention, likes, and comments than posting a picture of me in the hospital post-surgery with a big scar on my neck wearing that god-awful neck brace. And it was awesome. It was awesome in the beginning. It was cool to see how many people cared and all the comments and all the likes and all the shares and all the messages. They were great. And then I realized it. I was like, oh my God, everyone's just nice to you because you're in pain. Everyone's being nice to you right now because you're sick. And I think that the attention comes from people wanting to either A, help you, fix you, or avoid the same thing happening to themselves. They feel in some karmic way that if they send positivity, prayers, and happiness and kindness towards you, that there's some way gonna ward off that kind of situation happening in their life. And it reminded me of a really good friend that I used to have that relied on sickness as a source of energy. So let me take you back in time. I met this man 8 years ago at a property, and within the first 30 seconds of meeting him, he told me about his wife having passed away of cancer and that he was now a single father of 3. Now, when I first met him, that story was just so heart-wrenching because I had just gotten married myself, I was starting a new family, and the thought of my spouse dying and leaving me a widow was terrible. And I just felt so bad for this guy. And because I felt so bad for him, I continued to send him opportunities, I continued to do business with him, and I was always trying to make sure that I put him first and that I was doing something that could potentially be helpful to him and his family, make ends meet, and have a better life. On the other side of that, this friend of mine would do some pretty crappy things. He would lie, he would cheat, he would rip people off, like straight up rip you off. He would sell houses that didn't exist. He would collect earnest money and assignments ahead of time and actually sell a property that he didn't even have under contract. And when you would confront him about the dishonesty or the fraud, he would always revert back to how hard life was because of the situation where his wife had passed away of cancer and had left him a widow of 3 kids, and being a single father was one of the most difficult things he ever had to overcome. And I should just have mercy and forgiveness for the ripoff and the fraud because it's tough being a widow. And it worked. It did work a couple of times, but this lack of accountability would continuously happen. And there was a time when he ripped me off for $5,000. And I called my friend on the phone and I asked him, dude, what are you doing? You literally stole $5,000 from me. You know you stole $5,000 from me. Like, when is it gonna stop? And immediately he went back into the story about his wife having died of cancer. And I said something to him that I'm a little ashamed of having said, but I said to him, how many times are you gonna kill your wife to justify doing shitty things to people? And I think that actually hit him in some way and made him understand that it was not acceptable to continue to do this. I felt terrible about it afterwards. I sent him messages of apology, and we kind of ended our friendship at that point. Not really ended it, but we stopped really talking. I stopped sending him business. I stopped engaging with him because I couldn't really trust what he was gonna do. Time went on, and occasionally we would check in with each other until all of a sudden his social media started to engage and pop, and he was showing up on my algorithm and my timeline just excessively. And so I looked and saw what was going on. And it came to be that his son at 15 years old had gotten cancer. And so my friend's addiction to the attention that he received because of the sickness of his wife now transferred onto his son. and he propped his son up as the reason why people should do business with him, send him deals, have mercy on him, feel bad for him, be a friend to him. And that sickness, that addiction, that chemical response that was released in his body every time that he would receive sympathy from somebody is what drove him further. Now, it didn't stop him from doing crappy things. It didn't stop him from ripping people off. In fact, I didn't do business with him again, but a friend of mine did. And in that process, in that time, the same shenanigans were going on. There was still fraud, there was still ripping people off, it was still the same old guy. And so the habits didn't change, the patterns didn't change, and the addiction to holding on to the sickness as a crutch to get through life was his ultimate MO. The last thing that I remember was there was a post of my friend in a hospital wearing a hospital gown, much like the post that I made of myself in a hospital gown, wearing a neck brace. There's a lot of parallels here that he had written on Facebook that said, "I'm having gallbladder surgery today, and I would love for everybody to send me some prayers. Although life has been pretty tough for me, I'm grateful for everyone standing in and helping out my family through all the cancer and all the hardship. I just want to send you all love. Pray for me as I go under today." Unfortunately, my friend never made it out of that surgery. He passed away due to an infection, and ultimately his addiction to sickness finally took him. So this begs the question, have you ever used a negative circumstance to gain attention in your life from your family, from your friends, and have you used that as a source of energy or as a way to deflect responsibility for some of the maybe not so good things that you're doing in your day-to-day life? And if you have done this, there's an opportunity for you to shine awareness on this behavior and to change the pattern, because ultimately the result is the same thing. You're gonna attract this sickness, you're gonna spread the sickness, and at the end, it'll take you down. Guys, if you like this video or if any of this resonated with you, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. And if you've ever had this kind of attention in your life, leave me a comment, because it was one of the most incredible feelings and sensations that I went through after having gone through that situation with my neck, to have received all that attention, to have received all that praise, and received all that love, and then for it to have all gone away once it took the neck brace off. And I couldn't actually have been more grateful to race towards getting that neck brace off and not to have been relying on the sickness to tell the story of my life. If this has ever been something that you've done, tell me about it in the comments. We're all human beings. There's no reason to hide. But if we put awareness on it and if we understand what our patterns are, we have the power to change them. If you're in a weird place in your life right now and you want to help improve your mindset, this would be a great video for you to watch. Entrepreneurial success is an inside job. And if you want to learn how to make yourself more successful, this would be a great video to watch. And if you don't want to watch either of these videos, just hit the subscribe button and join me again next time.